all that, getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Greetings, race fans, and welcome back to Sim Racers Group Formula 4 Racing on SMB. JR Gregory here with you on the call. Beside me in the commentary booth, my partner, Kennen Miller, and tonight's producer is Marty Czekala. And as 2025 Season 3 continues, Week 8 takes us where? My house, baby. It's Portland International Raceway. This track is built among the ruins of Vanport, Oregon, which is a public housing project to serve the Kaiser shipyards during World War II, tragically destroyed by floodwaters in 1948, displacing 40,000 inhabitants. The Columbia River broke over the dike and washed the town away. The first races were street races in 1961 on the old roads of Vanport during the Portland Rose Festival. The permanent circuit followed in the early 70s, and in that 50 plus years, PR has been host to American Le Mans, Pirelli World Challenge, and NASCAR Trucks, current host to IndyCar, NASCAR, Trans Am, and a full slate of amateur track days. Current configuration, just under 2 miles, 12 turns. The track record of 58.740 was set in 2018 by Carlos Munoz, driving a DW12 IndyCar. So Kennen, Portland is as flat as your freshman prom date, and many say just as boring. So was PIR a worthy addition to the iRacing service?
Oh, absolutely, JR. This is one of the most famed tracks in the entire country. It's a very short and flat track, like you said, but it really demands a lot of finesse and flow if you want to be successful, no matter what kind of car you're in. So I think it's going to be a really good race. I think with the drivers we have in the Sim Racers Group Series, this is going to be a really good test for everybody between the hard braking going into turn one and just getting through the really tough flowing section between 4 and 7. So it's got a lot of demands that the track asks for, while it does look maybe a little easy on paper.
Yeah, it is a very, very nuanced track for sure, and I have spent a lot of time out here as a safety marshal, driver, instructor, racer, the whole 9 yards, and a couple things that stand out after spending some time in the F4 car out here this week. One is to get a fast lap time, you have got to attack the chicane, and we'll have a ride along for you a little bit later during qualifying and see how the different drivers are approaching that turn 1, 2, 3 complex that didn't used to be there. Of course, originally that was a long, long straightaway all the way down into turn 4 was the old turn 1. They put that chicane in to slow down the Indy cars, and it does somewhat break up the flowing character of the rest of the track, but you absolutely have to attack that chicane. The curbing on the right hander to start that chicane, turn 1. And we're going to go on board with Josh Leslie right now, and he put down some heaters already, folks. He's ran a 112 420, and see Leslie here. You got to cut all the way inside that curbing and get close to the Armco. That's not an off track, so the Armco is the real apex there, and not that stripe curbing. So you really have to attack that chicane and a couple other spots here too, as we watch Leslie. Looks like he is going to bail out of that lap. But what we're going to see, Kennen, is turn 7 is that last right-hander heading onto the back straight. Very easy to overcook the entry to that corner. You really need to get a good exit there to get a fast lap time, and also a great exit from turn 12. You got to be brave, get on the power early, and the drag strip entrance is right there at turn 12. There's an Armco wall there. You got to get real brave and clip that wall coming through turn 12. And we'll take a little spin here with Greg Meyer and see if he can put together a lap for us in this Taco Bell car. He's turning in a little early there, but you want to get nice and close to that Armco, nip that curb just a little bit right here. And another interesting part here, Kennen, is this first apex of turn 4. As an instructor, we call that a false apex. You actually stay away from that, aim for that second apex. And now we're in turn 5, and this is a corner that's going to give drivers a problem all night. Turn 6, you have to be very, very patient on the throttle, easy to loop it. And here's what I was talking about, turn 7, power down here. You got to hammer that throttle and get a good run down the back straight. And we'll just go ahead and let this roll and let you see this final combination, really thrilling high speed. This is the highest speed portion of the track as it currently sits, this back straightaway. Here is turn 10, just a little lift, drop a gear. Turn 11, a little lift, and you got to turn in right here, floor it here. And Meyer leaving some track on the table there. You got to let that car go all the way out and flirt with that Armco divider from the drag strip launching area right there. So that is a quick run through of Portland International Raceway. Like we said, it looks easy on paper, but it is very nuanced track and takes a lot of practice and a lot of work to really squeeze out those extra tenths.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to take a lot of management on the brake balance between all the drivers that can really utilize the weight shifting in these cars, depending how hard and how early or late they do brake. So, being that it's a flat track, the suspension's going to be not really given any help to get through these corners. And you see Swanbeck losing the rear end almost as he's getting out of 4. That'll cost you time if you slide like that. So, they're going to have to find ways to keep the car going smooth, keep it going straight, and find that fine line on the edge of the track limits. Compared to some of these tracks that we do find on the iRacing service, this track does really allow to use every bit of the track, and that's where a lot of the lap time will be found.
Yeah, it does. And over the years, they've added some additional surface outside the curbing. And you see that. I see a little bit of it right there. You see that in that 10-11 complex coming off of the back straight. I got involved in a couple of F4 races on the public servers this week, and it is thrilling. It is going to be a battle out here tonight, to be sure. And we just watched Swanbeck go through that turn 7 that I said is critical, coming onto the back straight. They just repaved 10 years or so ago and opened up that entry to encourage passing right there, primarily for the Indy cars and for the spectators. There's a million lines through there, and we're going to see some contested entries there for sure as practice winding down and we make preparations to head into a 15-minute quali.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting as we look at that, the leaderboard there as practice just finished up. Dan Swanbeck back up at near the top of the board in second place with quite a nice lap here around the track. He's really shown a lot of strength the last few weeks, and he's definitely certainly looking forward to adding to his success this week and going up the leaderboard in the point standings.
Yes, Swanbeck looking fantastic, really, and just for comparison's sake, as I said, I was out here a few times this week on public servers, and the track is molten hot. It is over 40 degrees C right now, sitting about 110, and really, really brutal and slippery out there. And these open wheel drivers on the public servers that were 3 and 4K rated drivers were the guys getting down below 113 and into the low 112. So Leslie can wheel these cars, Swanbeck as well. They are very, very fast. And I'm going to real quickly run through your top 10 on the season. We had a glitch with our graphics that would normally show this, so I'm just going to read it off to you. But right now, as has been the case throughout most of the season, Josh Leslie sitting on top in P1 with 134 points. But Lloyd Conway's very close behind, only 6 points off with 128. That is followed by Adam Duvall with 94. Duvall's got Aaron Van Wagner only 1 point behind him at 93. P5 is Greg Meyer, 84. Jose Navas sits at 80 in P6. Then Swanbeck, a little further back than you might think given his pace, but he's had some problems in a couple races, sits in P7 at 69. Jacob Guyton is in P8, 61 points for him. Glasser in P9, 46. And Ryan Chichichia rounds out your top 10 with 42, and we'll have the fancy graphics back for you next week. But the key stuff on that list, Kennen, is Lloyd Conway is all over Leslie. Leslie has been fairly dominant, but he missed a couple races, kind of let Conway get within shouting distance anyway. But there are 4 drops as well. So as the season wears on, we're probably going to see Leslie pull away.
We could possibly. The door is open for Conway to make a good run. We do have 5 rounds, including today's round at Portland International Raceway to go. But I believe after this race, we'll finally start to be able to start seeing the points weekly with the drop weeks included. So that'll kind of help us know where we're shaking out. But there's quite a good bit of racing. You got good racing for third place between Duvall and Van Wagner, and all up and down the leaderboard. Everybody's kind of still in their pace where every kind of point really matters, whether you're near the top of the leaderboard or mid-pack or near the bottom of the leaderboard, trying to just get as high up the list as you can.
Yeah, too right, Kennen. And my goodness, look at Josh Leslie, 1 lap out, tires kind of warm, but not fully in their sweet spot, and a full fuel load has thrown down a 112.9. So Leslie definitely showing that he is the man to beat. He can wheel these F4 cars, and I am here to tell you, folks, that is absolutely flying around here, particularly on this hot track. So as the times begin to come in, it is Leslie from Duvall, from Trantham, Meyer, and Conway. Conway getting a little bit of a slow start. Looks like he's running about a 114. About 1.3 seconds off of Leslie. But as you pointed out, Kennen, those little wiggles in these F4 cars, they don't really have the power to recover from small mistakes. And there are a lot of opportunities for mistakes on this track, large and small.
No, certainly. And the way the curving here does have quite a bit of flow to it, the two biggest parts of the corner is getting out of the final corner on the front stretch and then exiting 7 smooth, because that straightaway is darn near half the lap, it seems. So that's where so much speed is accounted for in your lap time. And any little nuanced slip wheel spin is really going to affect that. And Leslie's certain put up a really good time. Swanbeck just goes into second on the leaderboard. So he's showing a lot of good speed. Joshua Leslie is actually about half a second slower than what he did post in practice here just a few minutes ago. So we'll see if he can find any more time there, whether he'll come into pit lane and seeing if anybody can best his time first.
Yeah, I think he has some more in him. And as we talked about last week, I've kind of changed my tune on the tire situation after kind of doing his simulated qualifying. It is definitely worth coming in for tires. The tires kind of peak after 2 or 3 laps and then settle in. And you want your quality lap to be in one of those peak laps. So it's definitely worthwhile after you burn off some fuel to come in and pick up some freshies. And Vase now has sped it up a little bit. It's Leslie from Swanbeck, from Vase, from Duvall, from Trantham. And my timing information is showing Leslie on an out lap. So it looks like he maybe did one and went back out. He may have had well, an incident wouldn't make him stop. I don't know why he stopped, but we may have a chance to talk to him later. We can check in with him on that as we ride along with Meyer. I'll tell you, this part of the track right here, that 10, 11, 12, if you hit it right and hit it really well, man, it feels fantastic. And looks like Meyer's putting down a pretty good one here. See if he can improve his lot. He's at 114.1 right now, sitting in P6. And bam, takes a half second off. Kennen jumps all the way up to third with a 113.699.
Yeah, that was certainly a good lap time. And I think just as you were talking us through the 9, 10, 11, 12 section, really there's a little bit of time to be found if he can get the car to handle nicely with using a little more racetrack. There's certainly a lot of speed for a lot of the drivers to still find here. So we're about halfway through qualifying, and Jacob Guyton's going to go up to 6th place on the board with a 114. We're really seeing Joshua Leslie clearly the leader of the pack by far and away at the moment, but there's a good mix between 2nd place and 9th where it could be anybody's race when we get down to the 20-minute finale at Portland.
Yeah, and we'll watch Embriette Hyde here come off of that back straight into turn 10. And you really have to trust the car here, Kennen. You don't want to overslow there. These cars are deep into 6th gear coming down that back straightaway. Just lift, drop it into 5th and take the first part of it. Then drop it into 4th and take the second part, and hard on the throttle, charging down the drag strip and onto the front straightaway. See if Embriette manages to move up. Looks like she did improve her time a little bit there, currently sitting in P11 ahead of Alcazar and Cy Nathan. And we're going to take a look now at Adam Duvall in that spaceship, and he goes a little wide there. That is going to be a throwaway. And actually, Kennen, that is part of the lap. You see that exit road that right there, that goes into the club pits. And that is how you set up for turn 12. You drive out onto that exit road to get a really good run around 12 and down that front straightaway.
Yeah, it's a very wide exit there. And Swanbeck on his hot lap is going to get a little loose and impact into the tire barriers. So thankfully, this is a no damage league. He'll get it all put back together magically and start on his way, but he may have to do another lap before he can try another hot one. I think he will take it back to the pits, try all again with fresh tires. So there's a lot of push in there. There's a lot of speed to be found. I think that's why he lost it. It was probably just carrying too much speed, and the rear end just really comes from out under you. So it's a pretty good challenge for the drivers, I think, on their hand today. This is going to be a pretty good race coming up.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of passing opportunities. We'll definitely see some fighting into turn 1. We could see some fighting into turn 7, and the interesting thing about that, in real life as in sim, and we're going to see Leslie get this lined up for that right-hander under the back straight. As you can see how wide that entry is there, it looks like low-hanging fruit. It's so tempting to stick it down the inside, but it really blows your exit there, and it's really easy to get past back, even if you can get side by side on entry. If you take the shallow entry and try to make an inside move there, oh my goodness! And Leslie had one going there. He had a purple sector in sector 2, and has an unfortunate run-in with traffic there. Leslie might have been able to do something there, but he's going to have to take another crack at it. About 5.5 minutes remaining, and right now it is Leslie from Swanbeck, from Guyton, from Meyer, from Vase, and Leslie about 7/10 ahead of Swanbeck in P2. So Leslie showing some dominant pace out here today, and as I said, that is serious pace with this car in these conditions.
Yeah, it really is, especially as hot and slick as the track is, and I don't think that's going to change between any time now and the end of the race. So the drivers will all have their hands full, and it's something that we certainly bring up as a recurring theme, but it's going to come down to minimizing mistakes. We've seen certainly a lot of self-spins between practice and qualifying so far, with just how hard you do have to push the car to make a top speed in this very competitive sim racers group. And you have one mistake, it's really going to cost you a lot of time. Thankfully, there isn't the damage that'll hurt you, but you don't want to find yourself off the track too much here. You'll find your way very far down the pack very quickly.
Yeah, and here comes Cy Nathan, that good-looking 91 car. And who is that? Duvall coming around behind. Duvall's going to get a little tow here, well-timed, his catching up with Nathan, and see if that bumps him up any, and it does not. And you see Duvall there taking that deep inside line that I was talking about. That is the line. That red and white curb is just there to cause some excitement as these F4 cars bounce over it, but that is not the track boundary. So you got to use everything right there and open up that very tight turn 1.
Yeah, and Dan Swanbeck just improved his time. He didn't move up the leaderboard, but did get down to a 1:13.407. So they're still sitting at half a second off of the pace that Joshua Leslie has brought to this qualifying session. But I think there will be a good bit of competition, and like we've seen in a lot of races, Dan Swanbeck has actually somewhat proven himself to be a very phenomenal starter. So he gets off that line quick. If he can manage to stay on the front row with just 3.5 minutes left in qualifying, I have a feeling Joshua Leslie could be in for a fight like we've seen previously going down into turn 1.
Yeah, too right. And Swanbeck knows that Leslie has got the pace and knows that as he's sitting there lined up next to him on the grid, that is likely as close as he's going to get to him right there, that moment in lap 1. So he may very well elect to pounce. Yeah, there we go. That's Swanbeck taking that brave line, brushing that Armco there that separates the drag strip release from the road course. And winding down here, and things solidifying. Leslie has not been able to improve that initial heater. I think that was his first time lap. So Leslie from Swanbeck from Guyton still 1, 2, 3. And I think we just saw a purple sector out of Duvall, who's lit the fuse a little bit. But, you see that little wiggle right there, Kennen, out of turn 7. As you said, any kind of sliding and loss of traction in these things, you really don't have the power to make it up. And that's going to cost him a little nip of time, whatever he gained in that purple sector early.
Yeah, it really will. It's just so crucial to keep the car just so clean and straight and under you. These Formula 4 cars, a little bit different than maybe some of the earlier Formula cars or something like a Skip Barber racing car, is they don't really run off of the same style of slip angle. There is some, obviously, as you're getting through a corner, but it's a much different line than what a lot of drivers are used to, where you can be more aggressive and allow the car to drive on a yaw. The more you yaw these cars out, it really is detrimental to your lap time. So everybody's going to have to find a way to kind of keep it smooth. We'll see what happens with the draft. I don't know. You can probably speak more on it, but the front stretch does look like a good opportunity to get a draft, especially considering that really challenging right-left chicane for turn 1.
Yeah, we'll see a big toe on the front straight and actually the back straight slightly longer. Actually, turn 8 allegedly is in the middle of that back straight, but you're on the power and running it through the gears all the way up to 6, beginning in turn 7. So that's really the start of the back straight. And take a look back at Nathan. Going a bit wide on that exit out of turn 7, really tricky track, and like I said, it's one of these that when you look at it on paper, it doesn't look like it can be that complicated. But these combinations of corners, you kind of have to have a advanced geometry degree to figure out the line through there, when to apply power, what corners to throw away to benefit your exit from other corners. So I'm a fan. It's my home track, but it's a great track. I love it out here, and we're going to see a good race here tonight.
Yeah, it almost kind of reminds you of a go-kart track, just overgrown, steroided go-kart track, just totally flat. A lot of the turns don't really have any weird camber to them. They might have a little bit to it, but certainly an interesting track with the kind of high speed. A Formula 4 car, it's almost like a perfect match for a racetrack like this.
Yeah, and it's almost too bad that these conditions. It is roasting hot out here, folks. And if we had a nice, comfortable 20 degrees out here, we'd be seeing a lot faster lap times and a lot less struggle. And we're going to really be seeing these guys and gals fighting for grip out here, especially as I said, in turn 6. We're going to see some cars go off there, and the tires are definitely going to fade as the race unfolds. Not a lot of movement here down the stretch. Let's see if Duvall has improved himself. He did take a nibble of time off, but it does not move him. So he's still sitting in P6, and it looks like Cy Nathan is going to be the last driver around. And all yellow for him in terms of sectors. I like that line, though, out of turn 12, letting that car go all the way out to the tires there. I'll see if Nathan can move up. He needs about 1.6 to best Alcazar in P12 and cannot do it. So I think that is going to wrap up our quali, and we're going to have the starting grid for you in just a moment.
I think it's worth taking a moment to hammer back home how absolutely brutally hot it is out here. When we started this broadcast, the track temperature was 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're now sitting at 112 degrees, with it possibly going another 2 degrees up from there before the end of the race. So track's doing nothing but getting more rubber and getting slicker and hotter, and I think it's going to make for quite an interesting race from 1st to 13th. There's going to be a lot of slip and slide, and we're going to see some cars spinning out. And as tight natured as this track really is, I think we'll certainly see some contact as well. So I think we've got our hands full. I'm ready to watch it. I hope you are too. This is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. You cannot lose Sim Racers Group F4 at Portland International Raceway. But here is your starting grid. Josh Leslie put down that heater on his first time lap. Never got any faster than that, but didn't need to hang on to the pole. So it's Leslie will line up next to Swanbeck in P2. Then it's Jacob Guyton next to Greg Meyer in row 2. It'll be Vase next to Adam Duvall in 5 and 6. Jason Trantham will line up next to Lloyd Conway. Conway probably not happy with his qualifying performance. He's about 1.3 seconds off of pole. Then it'll be Glasser next to Rudy Sumudio. Embriette Hyde will line up next to Nemo Salazar. And then Cy Nathan will line up in P13, and Clark I don't think participated in quali, and I don't think that he is going to take the grid, but we'll find out here momentarily. About a minute left on the timer. And at that point, iRacing is going to force the start. You see Leslie there in that blue and yellow 55 car. That is his starting position. So he will have inside position into that critical turn 1. And man, oh man, from go-karts, Kennen, all the way up to Indy cars, there are kerfuffles in turn 1 all summer long at PIR. It is very challenging to get these cars loaded up. It's a very tight corner. running by yourself. And if you have to go side by side there, it can be super challenging. And we didn't talk about yet that inside curb that makes up the apex of turn 2 is very high. You can smooch it a little, you can cuddle up to it a little, but if you jump it, you're going to meet its daddy, and it's not going to go well for you. So it's another one of those brutal anti-cut curbs that will launch these little F4 cars into a low orbit. And we're going to take the start here in just a moment. And
lights are on.
Oh, and Swanbeck jumps the start. Brutal. That is a drive-through for Swanbeck. His race is over. I cannot believe what I just saw. But meanwhile, it is Leslie from Swanbeck, temporarily anyway. Swanbeck's going to push ahead, but it doesn't matter. He blew that start, and I actually did that myself this morning. It is infuriating, but it's Swanbeck from Leslie from Meyer. Looks like Duvall and Trantham got past Vase with a rough start, but I'll tell you what, after that start by Swanbeck, Leslie is going to be sitting pretty here, Kennen.
Yeah, he's certainly got quite an advantage. I mean, Swanbeck's doing the best he can by at least being out front and having control. You see Leslie wanting to make a look right back inside on him and running wide a little bit. Swanbeck is there going down the backstretch. So I have a feeling we'll see a change for the lead going down the backstretch, but they're all packed together right now, really utilizing that draft. This is the most important part of the race. While everybody's together, you have to get what you can get, and then just see where you can kind of settle in for the remainder of the race. And Leslie will get by.
Leslie rolling the dice. That is 6th gear right there, folks. Stuffs it on the inside of turn 10. He may not know that Swanbeck got a penalty there, but Swanbeck rolling through the pit lane for a drive-through. When he comes out, he is going to be DFL, and in race parlance, that stands for definitely far from the lead. So as we begin lap 2, it's Leslie from Meyer, from Trantham, from Vase, your top 5, and 2 cars, Swanbeck and Dan Clark, are in pit lane, and I see Conway is out. Conway is out, has parked it, and I have no idea what happened with Conway. We'll see if we can go back and figure that out for you.
Yeah, Lord Conway, I don't think he was able to get his car out. I think they might have had an issue in the garage or something. Did show he connected to the session, but unfortunately had to retire early. So that's quite an interesting shakeup for the points. Could be costly, but like we said, next week we should see how things play out a little better once the drop weeks start taking effect. So Dan Clark, I think he's gotten out of pit lane, but that's certainly detrimental. I don't know just how far he is back, but he's certainly hurt his race. He'll have an opportunity to maybe get back up. Possibly he could run himself back up to 6th. But he's certainly got a challenge being about half a lap behind the lead pack right now.
Yeah, and Conway just decided to park it and write down Portland as his drop week, one of his drop weeks. And Little Bird told me that Conway was not at all stoked about driving out here at PIR tonight. And you saw the result there. He just said, to hell with it, I'm parking it, and this is going to be one of my drops. But look at Meyer here, Kennen. You would have thought after that qualifying session that Leslie might get away here, but Meyer has him cranked down to 6/10 gap here, and the two of them have dropped Adam Duvall to the tune of about 2 seconds. And here's the most challenging, you see it right there, that's the most challenging corner on this track in these temperatures, turn 6. You have to be so patient to go on the throttle, and if you wiggle like that, Kennen, on every lap, the rear tires are going to be toast by the end of the race.
Yeah, you really can't abuse the rears like that sliding the car, especially with the track temperatures being so hot. I think I can look over at the weatherboard and see it's now up to 113 degrees on the track, so it's still only getting warmer and warmer, and hot tires don't like a hot track. It gets quite slick out there. And we see the 28 of Trantham has gone around. He's going to cause, I believe that was maybe Vase, who had to go through the grass to avoid. That's going to be very costly. I believe Vase has gotten it back together, but Trantham has certainly lost a ton of positions there. So that's the kind of things that can really shake up a race. All it takes is just a little too much speed. The rear end steps from under you, and this hot, slick track is really creating some challenge.
Yeah, Duvall in that unlucky 13 NASA liveried car had to go evasive there out of turn 11, and that allowed Guyton through. And another tip of the hat to Guyton. I love the pastel livery on that F4 car, but things could have definitely been worse for Duvall. But my goodness, couldn't avoid having the flaming barrel impact that his lap time, and Guyton is allowed through. And meanwhile, the front runners Leslie and Meyer now have a 4-second gap back to Guyton. And here are the two leaders, Leslie and Meyer. And Marty is going to show us the start, and keep an eye on that number 7 car. Whoop! And that is before the lights even came on. As I said, I did that myself earlier. When I saw the red, I stepped on the gas because, red, green, very similar. But tip of the hat to these guys. Fairly clean start here. A little tire dragging, a little, oof. Well, maybe not as clean as I initially thought. And as we said, this is a developmental league that is all about seat time. And so damage is off. These cars will repair themselves after little incidents like that. But there you see it again. Swanbeck getting on the throttle too early, jumped the start, picked up the penalty, and his reward right now, he's running in P12, having lost 10 positions off the start. And man, oh man, I know he was excited about having a crack at Leslie. I know he was happy about his performance in qualifying, and get an easy come, easy go. And Swanbeck now in P12 with a million cars in front of him.
Yeah, it was really heartbreaking, and he still had quite a good takeoff into 1 and 2, and just heartbreaking to see that he just jumped it like that. The mistakes you just really hate to see, and prove so costly, especially having the pit lane penalty to go along with it. So just not what you like to see. He's been having such a good few last weeks, and I think he'll get himself back together when we go into week 9 next week.
Yeah, got to look there at Trantham in the 28 car sneaking past Samudio coming out of turn 7. And I don't know if that developed prior to the corner, or Samudio just didn't get a good drive out of turn 7. But again, very critical. And there's Samudio washing out into the tires right there, and another car going evasive. And man, oh man, that is tough, Kennen. The only way to describe that, the sequence of corners 10 and 11 coming off of that back straight, is careening, and it's kind of like doing it on ice skates in these track conditions. It is wild, and takes a lot of bravery to stuff those F4 cars down through there, and you see it being a challenge that some of these drivers are not up to tonight.
Yeah, you can just see there's just a lot of commitment that corner takes, and sometimes even lifting just unsettles the balance of the car so poorly that it'll really spin you around. And certainly here you see just catching the right rear tire on the or the left rear tire on that grass makes it pretty difficult, I believe, for Samudia there. Here we see him going for a pass. Yeah, that low entry, come over the curbs. That's Trantham spinning around there. And yeah, it's just so difficult. You just have those mistakes, and that's his second spin, obviously, we've just gone through and watched. And you see just all the carry using the curbs. A little bit of that top right front tire may have gotten over the curb. I think it might have actually touched the grass there, and may have been more of the reason why the car just got so unsettled. So you see just how bit of a fine line it is.
Yeah, and the problem right there, Kennen, is that was an awesome pass into turn 10 by Trantham. That's actually a PIR merit badge if you're brave enough to stick it down the middle there. But turn 11, his tire went over the red and white curb onto the concrete, and that has a raised edge that will catch the front tire and turn you. And that's what happened to Trantham there. So you're kind of flirting with the boundaries there. And if you take it too far, that is the result. And Trantham, fortunate to have only lost 1 position. And meanwhile, ahead of Trantham, take a look at Embriette Hyde, who has qualified pretty well in 11th and has moved up 4 positions here by keeping it clean, currently running in P7, and I believe that may be her highest running position so far this season. So great to see Embriette Hyde putting the work in and continually improving, along with a lot of these other F4 drivers. Sim Racers Group puts on a fantastic developmental league. They coach each other, they help each other, they work together to get better, and you're enjoying the outcome of that, the results of that here on SMB tonight.
Yeah, she's really put together really nice 2 out of the last 3 weeks, getting good finishes. I know, forget exactly where she finished, but she did just top her highest finish ever so far in the series. And tonight, I believe she may be even going to best that. So after the little trouble getting into turn 1, where we saw that she had the contact and lost rear wing, she's really recovered nicely and looking to put together a really well done finish today.
Yeah, and one thing in observing her that I think that she's done really well and can be very difficult on drivers as they're learning or novice drivers is pressure from behind, and we've seen her subjected to continual pressure for lap after lap after lap in a few of these races, and she manages to keep it frosty and not make mistakes once she's moved herself up. So she's driving very consistently, very safely, keeping it clean, and reaping the rewards from that. So really great to see. As I said, this is a developmental league, and the goal is to move up into F3, which will broadcast their F3 program tomorrow night. But really great stuff that they have going over at SRG.
Yeah, it really is. It's just such a nice community. Everybody is just such a pleasure to know and work with, and it makes us all really proud at the Slow Motion Broadcasting Studios that we get the opportunity to show off their series and just how talented and what a great group they are. So it's really been a pretty good fun race. It's kind of winding down. We're getting to the halfway point. Greg Meyer is really not letting Leslie get away too far. 4.6 seconds. I don't want to maybe give out too much of a broadcaster's curse, but we have seen Joshua Leslie have mistakes before near the end of the races as the tires start to get warmer and more worn out. So Meyer's still making sure he's hanging in there with an opportunity to strike if anything goes awry for the leader, Joshua Leslie.
Yeah, and at the halfway point, it looks like really the only close action right now is Trantham trying to reel in the aforementioned Embriette Hyde. But otherwise, look at those intervals up front. It's Leslie from Meyer from Duvall with 5 seconds between all those cars, Guyton about 2.5 back, and then 5 seconds back to Vase. So this one kind of turning into a track day. A lot of these drivers had never been on Portland before. It was just added to the iRacing service this year. So a lot of them are learning it, and it is obviously a work in progress with the kind of wide range of lap times that we're seeing. And Trantham is going to poke his nose inside of turn 1 a little bit, all over height here, and it is a passing opportunity down here into the old turn 1 or turn 4, and he is going to take a breath and think better of it. His next crack at Hyde is going to be in turn 7, but Embriette has got to be driving in her rearview mirror right now. He is Trantham all over.
Yeah, you can tell Trantham certainly frustrated. He's had a couple spins himself today's race, and he's caught into the traffic. He's trying to recover whatever he can, and Embriette Hyde really running good and giving quite a fight. So this will be a interesting dive. We've seen Trantham have a little issue making a pass on the inside going into turn 9. So we'll have to see how it kind of plays out, whether he's able to get by. I know he's really certainly driving aggressive, trying to make up a lot of lost time.
Yeah, and it almost looked like Hyde wanted to give him turn 7 there. She left the inside wide open, and maybe she'll breathe the throttle a little bit here after seeing Trantham facing the wrong way once or twice already in this race. She would probably rather have him go by on her terms instead of potentially cause a problem for both of them, as you see her dragging her fronts into turn 1. And these tires, Kennen, are not happy out here in this 113 now degree track, and we're going to start to see the consequences of that, and we may have seen a little bit of it right there.
Yeah, and literally as soon as you said the number 113, the ticker ticked up one. It's sitting at 114. So it's almost comical how hot this track is. It is just absolutely brutal out there. I know all the workers around the track and all the drivers, hopefully their cool suits and technologies are working inside those vehicles, because this is a absolutely physically demanding track. And with the heat, it's not making it any easier on the drivers or the cars right now.
Yeah, it can be insanely hot. The entire, a big chunk of the infield here on the inside of the front straight, the infield paddock, or the pro paddock as we call it over here, is all concrete. And I've pulled out a laser barometer on days like today, and that infield paddock has return temperatures of 135 and 140. So it can be brutally hot here up in the Pacific Northwest at PIR. You normally don't think of those kind of temperatures in this area, but it gets wicked hot out there at the track. And right now, with about 5.5 minutes remaining, it is Leslie comfortably from Meyer, comfortably from Duvall. And Guyton has reeled in Duvall a little bit. He's got that gap down to about a minute, but only 5 minutes to work. And right now, Leslie just kind of needs to stay in his rhythm and keep ticking off these laps, and he's going to have this one in the bag.
Yeah, I think so. He certainly put himself in the position 3/4 of the way of the race through to get himself another victory here in this season that he's just really, quite frankly, been dominating so far for every race he shows up at. So he's had a couple mistakes at Indianapolis, but all in all, he's really out there. I think every time I've been looking at his car going by, it doesn't seem like he's really having to push it too far. He's managed the tires well and starting to show. And Duvall just really runs hard through the chicane, misses it entirely, and somehow manages to get back going. Only loses one spot, but that's going to clear the way. Jacob Guyton to take the third place on the podium for the moment.
Yeah, that is rough, and there should be alarm bells in Duvall's head right now because those tires are cooked. You got to take a minute to breathe and let those tires recover. We'll see what he does here, and oink, yeah. I told you to stay off that turn 1 curb. It is about a foot high, and you saw the result of hitting that square there as that F4 car goes into a low orbit. It is the NASA car, but probably not what Duvall had in mind, and Duvall has now fallen back about a second behind Guyton, and Guyton finding himself on the podium, and which he may not have expected, although he did qualify in P3. So Guyton's race performance is lining up pretty well with his qualifying performance. And I'm just noticing we've now got 4 cars off the lead lap. So pretty wide variety of paces as people struggling here at this new track.
Yeah, it's certainly been a pretty good track here, and Duvall's on a heater. I know he's not happy with how he got through turn 1 the last time, and he flies through it perfectly. That time manages to get Jacob Guyton back. So quite a good race we have going on for third right now with just a few laps remaining. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that. And also seeing Jason Trantham is starting to catch up on Ken Glasser, may get himself up to 6th. That's really the 2 battles we've got right now, and Leslie's put another 2 seconds on Meyer, so he's really put it in the bag at this point. No need to push it, and he'll be able to handily get this victory.
Yeah, I'd like to see that move by Duvall again, possibly. It looks like maybe Guyton overcooked that entry to turn 1, and just kind of, I mean, look at the distance here, and it almost looks like it was Guyton letting him through there. I guess a slowdown is possible. I can't think of where he could have gotten a slowdown in that last 10, 11, 12, but certainly looked intentional, him getting out of the way there. So interesting stuff. And if we get Duvall in the booth after this race, we can talk to him about that. But obviously, Guyton there not taking the normal approach to turn 1. And yeah, don't see any problems there. That's all. That is all looking fine. So yeah, interesting and interesting and mysterious as this one ticks down. About 2 minutes left now here at Portland. Oh,
yeah, I'm quite baffled there. I mean, Guyton's right back on him. I don't know why he would have just given the position. Maybe he's telling Duvall to get back in front of him. He wants to get third place the honest way. I don't know, but that was quite an interesting turn of events. So we're still set up for a really good race for third, though, just the opposite of what we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and remember, it's possible that these 2 competitors are seated next to each other at this SRG facility in San Jose, and there might have been some talk between them that we're not privy to, maybe a trade for a beverage or something along those lines. But as you see there, Guyton has got about a 4/10 gap ahead to Duvall. You see the draft going to work a little bit there. Duvall weaving to try to break the draft. This maybe I didn't see the white flag that time, so there's probably 2 more laps to go at this point, and both drivers struggling on that tough entry to turn 1.
Yeah, both drivers really got tough there. I think Guyton got the worst of it, but he's making a pretty good hard charge back as we're getting ready to come down the backstretch. I think this is really going to be his best chances. I don't think at this track you want to wait until the final lap to make the move if you can get it any earlier. So he is right on the edge. You see the way those front wheels are just working so hard. The hands are moving left and right, just begging this car to catch an apex and give him the speed that he needs. And I think he might have it. He will get an opportunity for a run going into 11.
Yeah, he may have a crack at 10 here as you see Duvall move over to try to cover the inside. That inside pass into turn 10, doable. We saw Trantham do it earlier. And looks like Leslie has just taken the white flag, and Guyton is in the grass there in turn 11, managed to save it. That can get tragic very, very quickly. You're going very fast there, well over 100, and not a place where you want to dip a wheel. But Duvall hanging on, and about a 0.6 gap behind him to Guyton, and Leslie driven away now. And my goodness, Leslie from Meyer is 10 seconds. Meyer from Duvall, another 10. So Leslie has completely driven away and still has not broken that 113 barrier, and is not likely to as conditions continue to worsen here at Portland. But we'll take a look at Leslie as he seeks to rack up another victory here in Sim Racers Group F4. Coming off of the back straight here for the last time. There's that 10-11 combo. Feels so good when you get that one right. Whoa it up a little bit, and then on the power here in third. Let her drift out, and here comes Leslie for the victory. Leslie has won it again, and this time, folks, it was domination, a gaudy 12-second gap back to Meyer in P2. And meanwhile, here's Duvall and Guyton still running with each other. And Guyton is going to go off, and that one is over. Vase is going to get through. Vase is going to finish in P4, which is definitely going to be his best finish, as you see his little wiggle of joy there after driving through the cloud of smoke created by Guyton as he went off of turn between 11 and 12 there. And a little bit more dicing there. That is Embriette Hyde taking a look at Trantham, was it? Nice. And Embriette keeping Trantham honest there. She hung right with him and showed her nose there on the last lap in that last section. So good racing by those two as well. Really good racing up and down the grid. The grid did spread out a little bit due to the newness of the track and the difficult conditions, but still the drivers put on a pretty good race for us today.
Yeah, that was a really phenomenal race all throughout the pack. We had a lot of different interesting battles that we saw there. Certainly saw a few drivers make mistakes, but honestly, a lot of drivers got through this race quite clean. I don't think the incident count was super high, especially between contacts, maybe some off tracks here and there, but Leslie with just an absolutely dominating race.
Yeah, and as you said, Leslie and Meyer both with 0 X's, so pretty incident-free, not a lot of kerfuffles out there, and they pulled off a pretty good start there, most of them, except I guess the mid-pack there was a little contact on lap 1. But in any event, here are your final results. Josh Leslie in dominant fashion was going to take the P1, followed by Greg Meyer in P2. Adam Duvall will round out your podium, and those intervals are a little larger than we normally see out here. And you saw Vase get a cheap one there, get a freebie on the last lap to move up into P4. I'm sure that's his best start finish of the season. Then it's going to be Guyton rounding out your top 5. Then it's Ken Glasser in P6, Jason Trantham after his fight with Hyde in P7, Embriette Hyde in P8, Rudy Samudio will finish in 9, and Dan Swanbeck tragically claws his way back to P10 after DFLing it again, getting a drive-through, jumping the start. Then it's Nemo Alcazar in P11, Dan Clark in 12, Cy Nathan in P13, and you saw Conway park it. And Conway has shared in the YouTube chat that he just didn't put the time in. He didn't feel confident, and he didn't want to make a mistake that wrecked someone else's race. So Conway pulling out in gentlemanly fashion to make way for people who did have the time to get the practice in. So those are your results from my home turf, Portland International Raceway. And let's take a quick peek outside and see who we have here. It looks like we'll go ahead and bring in for you, Kennen, tonight's winner, Josh Leslie.
Yeah, Joshua Leslie started on the pole, got the pole with pretty much a first time out in the qualifying session, wasn't really able to best it, and then just absolutely dominated from start to finish during the race, winning by just over 11, 12 seconds. So what made you so quick at a track like Portland where so many drivers were new to this place?
Honestly, I was driving really slow compared to like my practice and qualifying times. I just I learned from Indiana that to just not go fast. I got to bring it down. That's what I did, and then that brought me the victory.
Yeah, no, it absolutely played off, minimizing the mistakes, not catching yourself in trouble, and the smooth, consistent lap times were still well above the field and put you in a great spot. We did actually notice that during the your practice time was about half a second quicker than your qualifying time, and we noted the weather on the track and how warm it was. Track temp did get up to 114 degrees. How do you think that affected the way the car was handling, how slick it was out there?
Yeah, qualifying was definitely like way greasier. The track just I had no front or rear grip if I ran for too long. So I noted that for the race, and so I just had to save tires for most of the time.
Yeah, we thought the tires were going to get pretty horrendous there by the end of it. Even in a 20-minute race, it seems like they just really don't keep up when the track gets so hot. But that was a really well done race, dominating performance. Anybody you'd like to thank for the week and congratulate with your win?
Um, yeah, I'd like to thank Jason here for coaching me. I came in like a couple days earlier to practice this track, and he gave me a couple of tips. So yeah, definitely thanks to him, I was able to take the victory here tonight.
Awesome. Yeah, Jason Cotcher, the captain, the head boss of the Sim Racers group. He's got the Sim Racers Group studio down in San Jose on the east side, and he really makes sure to coach everybody up, gives everybody as many tips as he can, gets everybody better throughout the entire group. So well done, Joshua. We appreciate it. We'll see you next week, and best of luck getting this championship.
Yeah, thank you. See you next week.
All right, that was Josh Leslie, and our next guest here in the commentary booth, he's showing up with his Discord nickname, and I'm not sure who it is. So who have we got here with us?
Nemo.
Nemo Alcazar. Hey, how's it going, man? Welcome to the booth and welcome to Sim Racers Group. I know that you're a new participant out here, and looks like you did fairly decently at a very difficult Portland track in very hot and greasy conditions. Looks like you picked up one position, finishing in P11. So, as kind of a new participant in this group, what would you say to people who are thinking about hooking up with Sim Racers Group?
It's probably the most serious racing that I've come across. So I think that in itself it can be intimidating because, well, you gotta know how to race. So all those like laps on Gran Turismo with all the traction controls and all that stuff turned on didn't do me a whole good here. But I mean, you get the basics in line. But no, I think in that sense, got to kind of come here ready to be challenged. It's a whole different. I mean, it's the proper experience as opposed to I guess what do they call Simcade, where you just throw on all the assists, which it doesn't help you any.
Oh yeah, for sure. And no nannies at all on these cars, no traction control, no anti-lock brakes. And when the track is 40 plus degrees as it was today, everything is working against you. And everybody out there did really well. So are you one of the people that is down at the Sim Racers Group facility in San Jose? Or are you joining online tonight?
I'm here in San Jose at the facility.
Oh, nice, nice. Welcome again, and congratulations on breaking free of the Simcade driving and rising to the challenge of driving a real car with those assists off. So we hope that you're enjoying it and that you're going to continue working on it. And as we wrap up, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Jason and Tyler for being as helpful as they have been. It's frustrating to struggle, but I guess that's just part of the learning curve. And I guess I've never properly raced cars, but if I were driving these speeds with these types of vehicles in these tracks, all these bad behaviors that I have that I got to get over, I mean, that's the effect that I'm getting on the results. So I think for now, just kind of seat time and patience, and I think I'll start crawling up the ranks over time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really about three things: seat time, and also seat time. So hang in there. It's definitely worth it when you get in the groove. And thanks for stopping by and chatting with us tonight.
All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. And that was Nemo Alcazar. And Kennen, our last contestant here on Smokin' Hot Portland is Ken Glasser.
Yeah, Ken Glasser, always a fan favorite here at the Slow Motion Broadcasting Network. Got a P6 today. It was a really nice run. Didn't really have too many issues out there. Only had, 11 incidents and maybe a few off tracks there, but still got a really nice result. So how do you think today went?
It wasn't clean, that's for sure. I got a bit of a love tap from Embriette on the first corner as everybody was compressing, and then I kind of got a little bit out of sorts from that, and then it took a little while to try and get into a rhythm, and then I actually ended up having a really good dice with Sarah for a few laps, but just little mistakes here and there. A car, it's like front end would wash out, the back end wanted to spin around, so it turned into a real challenge. And a lot of the commentary you didn't hear on the radio was like a lot of people were working really hard on this race.
Yeah, we could see it. I mean, you could see it even in the broadcast, in the cockpit views, just the way the hands were working so hard left and right. And it was just such an incredibly hot track at 114 degrees when the checkered flag was thrown. So you could see the cars were quite the handful today. How do you think you handled it with how warm the track was? Do you feel like that was probably the bigger part, or was it more of the driving style?
No, the track, I didn't find that was the big thing, but the first turn is just my nemesis. I just could not get through there cleanly, and then the rest of the lap would suffer as a result. So, my laps in the race were far slower than my practice and qualifying. I just wasn't putting it together in the race. And I got a gift at the end from Jason when he went around and decided to park it last lap, but it was at first corner coming through there. Beyond that, it was just it was slippery, and I was dicing, and then this last corner coming through, and the back end just wanted to go, see ya, but managed to catch it a couple of times, but you lose so much time if you don't come off that back corner cleanly. It's just you lose that the rest of the lap. So first corner, last corner. Beyond that, I think I did all right. Had fun. It was a good race. Had some good battles. So we'll on to the next one.
Yeah, and certainly a good result. Getting P6 just right outside the top 5 is a very good effort going into the points championship. So we're looking forward with just 4 races left, I believe, in the season. So not much time to make up points, but you're certainly well on your way. Anybody you'd like to thank for the well done performance tonight and give a shout out to?
Well, thanks to you guys. Like, number one, it's like we really appreciate you doing this and making us look good and have fun doing it. So thanks to you. And then also a big shout out to Jason and Tyler here within the SRG facility here, making it very accommodating and a fun place to hang out with a whole bunch of people talking about racing.
Yeah, absolutely. We noted every week that Sim Racers Group, it's much more than just a building and everything else. It's quite a community to it. So thank you, Ken. Really well done job today. We'll see you next week.
All right, sounds good. Take care, guys.
See ya.
All right, and that was Ken Glasser finishing in P6 up 3. So Glasser able to make something happen here in Portland. All right, well, we are not just about these fantastic Formula cars here on Slow Motion Broadcasting. I want you to go ahead and subscribe to SMB and hit that notification icon so that you don't miss any of the action tomorrow night. We will stay with Sim Racers Group for Week 8 of Formula 3 competition at the Nürburgring GP and on Saturday, Ron's Race Nights will see the iRacing official top split action with Radical Esports Cup at Fuji, and Sunday we'll have a Weekend Warriors double feature. Spec Racer Fords will throw down at Oran Park, and Formula Fords will battle at VIR. And 1 week from today, back here with F4s at the fabulous Barber Motorsports Park, and these cars are going to be fantastic at Barber. Also want to mention August 9th, the USRA Sizzlin' Sebring 180. That's a 3-hour Enduro GT3 and LMP2 with cash prizes. That is going to be broadcast flag to flag here August 9th on Slow Motion Broadcasting. So I am J.R. Gregory on behalf of myself, my partner Kennen Miller, our producer Marty, Czekala, and everyone here at SMB. Thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day wherever you are, and look at the bright side. At least it ain't Monday.